Hello and welcome to part 3 of the incredible sightings and encounters with mythical creatures. Number 1. Aswang. Aswang is an umbrella term referring to a shape-shifting evil spirit in Filipino folklore, vampire, a ghoul, or different species of werebeast. It is the subject of a wide variety of myths and stories. Spanish colonists noted that the Aswang was the most feared among the mythical creatures of the Philippines, even in the 16th century. The myth of the Aswang is well known throughout the Philippines. Anthropologists postulate that the Aswang belief came from the myth-making of the Spaniards' intent on keeping the population under control. To frighten the Filipinos and discourage mobility, stories of Aswangs living on the outskirts of the forests were spread in towns to keep everyone in groups. But remember, that the Spaniards tried to burn all writings, to erase the Filipino culture and literature and be replaced by theirs. There are so many events not recorded even in history. While it is true that it is the Spaniards' intent to control the Filipinos, however what they don't tell is that there are several instances that the soldiers were really attacked by these creatures. It is true that there are rebels that they considered as dissenters. This tulisan they called are the Filipinos that will fight for the freedom till death. Most of them wear amulets. The Filipino Revolution against the Spaniards may be considered as one of the longest revolution in the history. From 16th century when they arrived till the 19th century. Resistance is happening every day all over the archipelago. And why can't the Spanish put an end to this in spite of their power? Because what they're against are not ordinary humans. These group of rebels wear amulets as protection against bullets and danger. That is why Filipinos are well known of using bolo, itak or tabak against the rifles of the enemy. And another group, which choose to live in the outskirts and wilderness whose clans are descendants of Aswang. Put in mind, that whatever they may be, they are still Filipinos who love their homeland. One of the most popular story regarding the Aswang is that of Maria LABO. LABO is a Visayan native dialect for hacked. For she was hacked on the face by her husband after knowing what she did. Maria killed their 2 children, chopped into pieces, cooked and ate them. When her husband arrived, she also served him their children. Not knowing that it was their children, he even praised Maria for a delicious dinner. When he asked where their children were and Maria could not answer and cried, that's the time he became suspicious. And later discovered the other parts of their children's body, including the heads inside the large pots covered by banana leaves. Maria escaped and seen several times on nearby provinces. The local government officials even mobilized their police force to capture Maria, but failed. And because people are so intelligent and yet so dumb to understand the existence of supernatural beings, they considered it as cannibalism or mental disorder only on Maria's part. Another popular story that surrounds the legend of Aswang is that of TENIENTE GIMO or Lieutenant GIMO of Duenas, province of Iloilo. TENIENTE GIMO is known in his town as someone belonging to a family of Aswang who we know to feast on human flesh. As a proud Aswang, he is not afraid to ever deny what he really is. He believed that being an Aswang makes him powerful against the people, and the fear of him and his clan made him even more stronger. One of TENIENTE GIMO's daughter is a student in a university somewhere in a city. On a school break, his daughter invited 2 of her classmates to come and go with her to her hometown. The 2 young ladies were excited to take a trip to a new place, so they both agreed to come along. When they arrived, they were greeted with warm hospitality, typical for a Filipino family. A small party was held with sumptuous food on the table. As the night grew deeper, despite the ongoing merriment, the young ladies retreated to a visitor's room and slept there together. In the room, the 3 of them slept beside each other on mats laid on the floor. Juana was the one in the middle. As the 2 girls went to sleep, Juana can't sleep no matter how tired she felt. She just can't bring herself to sleep. This feeling is referred to Filipinos as namamahay, a state of not being able to do a certain routine comfortably because you're not in your own house. As hours passed, Juana was amazed as the party continued even in the wee hours. It seemed that more people are joining the celebration. She heard more people greeting each other. She heard some restrained giggles, laughter, and some whispers. She thought, maybe it's for another party the next day. Juana got curious and took a peek from the window. As she lifted the window cover, she was horrified at the sight. In the middle of the night, people were gathered together in a huge circle, and at the center is a huge cauldron over a big fire. Some women were busy cutting spices and vegetables, while some drunken men were happily sharpening their knives and jungle bolo. They are cooking something unusually big. Wana had a very bad feeling of what is going to happen. Just then, in the next room, she heard Teniente GIMO talking to another man. There are two of them, one in the middle and one on the right. Teniente GIMO said to the man, "There will be 4 or 5 of you, just to be sure, just hit her right away in the head with one big blow to keep it quiet. Then put her in the sack." Wana was terrified, but she has to keep calm and think. As she heard the men approaching their room, she hurriedly went to the mat and gently pushed GIMO's daughter toward the middle. She covered everyone's head with the blanket and quickly laid on the left side of the mat. She gathered all her strength to keep calm and quiet. Soon after, the men slowly entered the room. She heard footsteps getting nearer. And then, there was a swift thud. The men were very quiet all the while, as if they were very used to what they were doing. Her friend wasn't even awakened by the horrific event that had happened just beside her. Unknowing of their mistake, the men quickly wrapped the bleeding girl in a sack and left. Wana tried her hardest to wake up her friend, but her friend was in deep sleep. She couldn't afford to take a second longer, so she hurriedly went to the other window in the room opposite to the one where the people were. She heard them joyfully beating the body inside the sack. Carefully and quietly, she climbed down the window and made a run for it. Not long after, she heard shouts and screams from the crowd of people she was running from. They must have realized by then that the one they were beating was none other than their leaders, Teniente GIMO's own daughter. Wana heard the commotion as she ran faster away from the house. Her poor friend was left behind, but she couldn't do anything about it now. She needed to run away fast. He heard Teniente GIMO in a loud voice, cried furiously at the sight of her dead daughter. She heard voices pursuing her. She knew that he could not outrun them, and they know the terrain more than her. She climbed a huge tree and hid herself in its thick leaves and strong branches. She stayed quiet there continuously and fervently praying to God to protect her from the repugnant enemies, not to see her, hear her, nor even smell her. She can hear the footsteps getting nearer. The voices of the angry mob echoed through the silent trees. The women had joined the search too, holding torches and the knives they used in cutting onions and vegetables. Every moment feels like eternity to Wana. Soon the Aswangs came back. They looked exhausted, much like the faded sparks of the torches they brought along. Wana stayed and waited for the right time. Finally, it is only few minutes till sunrise. God answered her prayers. She made sure that absolutely no one was in sight and carefully climbed down. With tired legs and aching body, she ran again and again until she finally reached the main road. She came home and reported the incident. But Teniente GIMO and his clan left and nowhere to be found. Until now, no one really knows the exact location where they resettled. For more stories and videos, please subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you will be notified whenever we have uploaded a new video.